Radicals. Welcome back to the Radically Rachel podcast. Today's episode is how to navigate friendship loss and grief. I'm not talking about loss like through death. I'm talking about loss through this administration. So many of us have lost friends, family members, people close to us because of politics. In the past, it was easier to be friends with people when we had different views or beliefs, because the views and beliefs weren't as oppressive. The views and beliefs were not as harmful. I had friends in the past that were Republican or conservative. Maybe they didn't totally support my marriage to a woman. But now, what's happening in the current day reality of America, of the United States, is that we have people being put in cages. People are not being given access to food, water, healthcare, proper bathroom facilities. We have people being treated like animals. Some of us have done the work over the last year or so with people in our lives where maybe you've tried to educate your friends. Maybe you've tried to push the needle forward a little bit. Maybe you've shared podcast episodes or articles. Maybe you were thinking that you could do something to help them wake up. You were hoping that you could help them see the light and see the truth. Some of us feel guilt. Was there something I could have said different or something I could have done different so that they wouldn't have ended up like this? Voting for this administration, supporting this kind of stuff? For me, I started to realize that, as little kids being in social studies, when you talk about the Holocaust or the civil rights movement, and you look around the class and you think, I would never do that. I would never stand for that. I would stand up for my friends that are different skin color than me. But now we're adults, and I look around at my adult friends knowing some of them would be on the wrong side of history, and some of them are right now. I can't save those people. It's not my responsibility. It's not my job to do the work for them. For a while, I thought it was my duty. I thought, what other way can I help these white women wake up other than being a white woman to help them? And I don't think I'm going to be the one to see the flowers of that garden or the fruits of that labor. I think that it's going to take these people sitting with the experiences and stories of other people that don't look like them, that don't look like me, that will actually be more meaningful. I'm having a friend on the podcast today to share about friendship loss, and we've been friends for 20 years. She and I both have lost some friendships during this administration, some similar friends and some different friends. My friend's name is Elise, and she and I are not relationship experts. We're not therapists. We're just regular people, just regular women, doing the best that we can to navigate. And so I wanted to preface that so that you would be aware that we're aware of that. We might not always say the right thing, but we're here trying to have this conversation, hoping that it will be helpful or insightful to you in any way and will help you not to feel so alone, as perhaps you've lost some friends too. It's painful, it's heavy, and it isn't easy to talk about. And it isn't easy to talk about knowing that some of those people might see this podcast, but I know that it's important all the same. And so trying to tread lightly and being mindful at the same time. But I know it's important to be not afraid and to do it messy and to show up anyway. So here's to doing it imperfectly. Hey, everybody. I'm joined here with Elise.
Hi.
Hey. I'm happy to have you on the podcast today. Thanks for being willing to come and chat with everybody about friendship and loss.
Of course, happy to be here. Big fan of the Radically Rachel podcast. So to now be on it is quite the honor.
Thanks, friend. Thank you for your support. You're a true radical. Elise, let's tell everybody what we remember about when we met 20 years ago.
Yeah, so we were both in the musical production of The Wizard of Oz. You were Auntie M, and I was an Ozian. And I remember we could like write notes to cast members and give them like encouraging letters. And I remember you wrote one to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, one of the leads knows who I am. Whoa, that's crazy.
But I was an Ozian too. I was an Ozian with
That's true.
you.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And
I wrote you a note. What did my note say? Do you remember?
I think I don't remember the extent of it, but I remember you saying something about you liked my hat because I was like the Ozian painter and I had this weird hat.
Yes, it reminded me of like it had like like paint splatters on it or something, and it just reminded me of Lisa Frank.
Yes.
So I was like, man, that's the coolest costume. I think I was the Ozian hairdresser. That's kind of funny. That's what I was. But yeah, I remember getting your AIM screen name in my program. Like you signed it and I was like, give me your screen name. And then we like spent maybe the next like 4 or 5 months kind of just having an online friendship before I think I saw you the next time in person.
Yeah, because I don't think it was until like the next production that like physically saw you, and then it was like many months till we were like doing stuff together as friends.
Yes,
So,
but yeah, I remember it was like obviously now I've done some online dating in my life, but it kind of is like, oh, like is our relationship gonna be the same as it's been online? And I do feel like we were like quirky and goofy and funny online, and it translates in
oh yeah,
person.
there was no surprise.
Yeah. And you also like deeply supported me through like a crush, a deep crush that I had at that time of my life. You were a really great friend.
Hey, I mean, that's part of being a 14-year-old, right?
True, true that. We are pretty aligned morally, ethically. I think we both grew up in a similar setting of like Christianity, spirituality, right? And also like liberalness.
Yeah, I would say minus my family wasn't religious, but like spiritual and like liberal.
Hmm.
They let
Yeah.
me do my church thing and said, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. My mom too. She's like, "You want to go to the mega church? Have fun." So we had a good time. And then we went to Bible study together. So we did like have seasons where like we really did grow in our faith in different ways. But I'm thankful that we both got free. I don't know how to say that any differently. Like
Yeah.
broke free of the religious chains. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deconstructed. Yeah, if you will. So we made it. As I just caught my cross tattoo. We made it. So, before we dive into it, I kind of just want to like name why we're here. This conversation itself isn't about debating politics or convincing anyone of anything. It's about the very real emotional impact that friendship lost this season, this presidential season, has had on our friendships and our sense of safety, our sense of belonging. For Elise and I, and many of us, these losses weren't just about differing opinions, they were about values, humanity, and feeling seen or protected in friendship. We're holding this space with care. There's no expectation for Elise or I to have perfect answers or clean resolutions, just honesty, reflection, and compassion for ourselves and for anyone listening who might be navigating similar losses. So, as Elise and I navigate this conversation, we both are talking about our shared experiences navigating the loss of a few different friendships. We still both, I know, have love for these individuals in our lives. And I personally can't say that I have respect for these people, though I have love. But I still want to have care and consideration to the conversation. So, Elise, do you want to like make any statement of like opening or introduction?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting like friendship breakups because there's no it's kind of a thing you think will be someone will be around forever. It's not like a romantic relationship where, okay, there's a chance that it will end. Friendship is pretty much you don't expect it to end. So I think it makes it, you know, a complicated thing.
Yes, yeah, you said that very well. Yeah, because with relationships, romantic relationships, we're kind of like, they could be the one, maybe, maybe not. But a friend, you're like, we're gonna go the distance. We're gonna be old ladies together. Um, didn't expect the orange guy to take us down. So, Elise, before politics entered the picture for these friendships, how would you have described these relationships?
I would say like very supportive. Like this person was a very good friend of mine. We were supportive, encouraging of one another. We had a lot of things in common, like things we like to do, like interests were very similar. I will say though, like in the last year or so of our friendship, things were beginning to change, just like you could sense like distance. I think I correlated that with we were physically in different places, but looking back, it probably was also more, mentally and emotionally as well. I just wasn't aware of it, perhaps, or looking into it as much.
I had some friendships that were lifelong, like longer than even mine and Elisa's friendship, um, where, yeah, you expect that this friendship will be around forever or for a very long time. Um, and then I have some friendships where I've known that we didn't have all the same beliefs, but I really thought these are smart women. These are really intelligent women, um, capable, like compassionate. So, like, I just thought in time they would like really awaken or like wise up or that they would see the truth. And so for me, it was more like despairing to just feel like I really, I thought that these girls knew better. I thought that they were better. And then so I hate to use the word better because I don't want to say I'm better than someone. For you, Elise, was there a specific time that this friendship changed? Or where you realized that like it really had changed?
Yeah, I would say probably like honestly a few months before um I knew like that her what her new views were or new to me. I wanted to say that caveat. Um I could just sense like a distance or like our conversations were just very surface level where like before we had been friends for a long time so we would like talk about anything. Um that's more so what I realized, like thinking back on it. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I think like a few months before I started to be like, oh, like I'm not really talking to this person as much. But I kind of put that up to we live physically and across the country.
And for myself and my experiences, I have a few friends that we have not spoken very much since he took office. I think that they know our friendship is over and I know it's over, but like what work, 'cause, like what I just, like, I feel like I don't want to fight with them, but I have nothing really I want to say to them. Um, I have one friend that I really was trying to like share with and like share articles with. And I really just felt like, I want to bring you with. Like, come on, girl. And was really taking time over the last year to try in small ways to educate or inform this person. And that didn't bode well for me.
It's tough because I feel like, a lot of people will say, and I agree with them, like, you know, what's the line of like you don't if this person is living in this echo chamber of their own beliefs, like you can be that one person that's like telling them like, hey, actually, or kind of rebutting their beliefs, but that usually comes at the detriment of yourself. So you have to kind of weigh those of like, is this really making an impact, or is this person kind of so far gone that like right now like isn't the time to really be doing that? And so I think, yeah, that's like a struggle that I run into personally.
Yeah. And also like communicating through social media or comments and stuff. Like I could, in my nature, have a very gentle tone and be communicating and saying, hey, I just was wondering if you've seen this. And like, this kind of concerns me. And like, one friend I had, I said, some of the things that you're posting, I think they're kind of racist. And she was surprised by that. Um, and I also, in the way that she responded back to me, think she probably thought that I was very aggressive and arguing with her. And I looking around, yeah, there's a lot of people angry and have a right to be angry, but I don't really think that we're going to be able to bring anyone to a different place of understanding through anger or judgment in that way. And sometimes I also cannot control my temper. So sometimes it's easier for me to not engage.
mean, to be fair, they are like extremely important. Like people's lives are at stake. So it's, the anger is fueled by that's like righteousness. So
True,
I
true that.
think,
True that. Righteous anger. Hell yeah. So for you, when you think about some of these friendships that you've lost, what emotions come up first? Or like what emotions have you dealt with? I think for me, anger has been the primary thing that I felt, I have to be honest.
yeah. No, I waver between that and like guilt as well of like, is there something that I missed like that you know, maybe this person would have been more open to me about their beliefs and I could have like as they were starting to, go down this path, if I could have intervened or something to be like, hey, let's like examine that a little bit. So I think part of that and also, yeah, like anger and also like sadness because like, obviously these friendships were a very important part of my life and like to not have them anymore or to see like their changes is very sad, but also like I think important because these are pretty, people's humanity is at stake. And if someone is against that, like if you just go along with them or things don't change, then they assume that everything is okay with their beliefs and their opinions and their values.
Yeah. I think growing up, I grew up as like a very loud and proud Democrat, liberal. My mom was going to like rallies and just like very involved in like local politics too. So in my household, we just were always very politically engaged. Dinner table conversation was often about God, spirituality, and politics because my grandpa was a pastor. So like that's just like the hot topics we always talked about on a regular basis. I think in the past, we could have friends who were different in their values or beliefs. And some of the things that we were voting on or the way that our society was, that's a lot of also like the white privilege, patriarchy, capitalism, that the system for you and I, we probably didn't recognize how much our society was really impacting a lot of different groups of people, disenfranchising different groups of people. And so this government really hasn't been serving lots of people for a long time. So, like, to say, like, oh, things in the past that we voted on weren't as important, it's always been important. Like, the rights and access to health care, women's reproductive rights, people having the ability to marry whoever they want, people having the, should have the fair access to a legal system where they can gain amnesty or citizenship. People should have different rights to apply for visas and such. Like that should all be easy peasy if America's so great. But we have to really fight and have like conflict about these things that are just impeding people's basic freedoms to just live and love. So let's talk a little bit about what values for you, like, right, it's like what's now it's non-negotiable, right? That we're like, this is people's right now. Also, we have people like in concentration camps. Why is that something I have to educate somebody about? We all went to school and learned about the Holocaust and other situations where people have been in these kind of settings. Like, why is that something that we have to educate people about? And I guess I'm like talking to myself. I'm on a diet. I'm on like a rampage right now because I'm just like thinking, I'm like, okay, so then if you see that and you don't say anything, you're okay with it. And you think that people deserve to live in these conditions and be treated like animals, and I don't. So we are fundamentally different then in what we agree is how I feel. So it is something I'm like getting angry talking about it because it is something worth being angry about.
Oh, 100%. Yes. And I think also like people don't necessarily believe some of the things that are happening. Um, like I live in a big city and I come across like ice, like we get notifications and stuff. And so like I think people that don't necessarily live in places that are like under siege or whatever say, like I don't think they think it's really happening, or they think like, oh, people are just, exaggerating, or like these people were agitating like ICE officers, or like, those videos are AI. And, I don't want to project on what these people might believe, but part of me wonders, like, is that to make themselves feel okay? Of like, I don't want to, deal with the consequences of my vote or my belief. So, like, I'll just pretend that none of this is happening. And so I wonder if, like, sometimes people do that instead of, like, really, like, looking at what's actually happening.
Yeah, yeah. Because I know our ego is like designed to protect ourselves, like this our defense mechanisms. And so if somebody voted for this and has to bear witness to it happening, right, then they would feel guilt, they would feel shame, they would understand the part that they played, and they don't want to feel that. So they don't want to acknowledge it. Um, I saw someone recently online, he's a veteran, and he was just talking about how right now we really need to start listening to the experiences of people and really start putting our, we don't want to like idolize anyone or center, like I don't know how to say this, but like people should be looking at other people's stories to inform their judgments right now and not just what the government is telling us and like feeding us. And so if some people are only watching a news stream and that is their only experience of hearing about a news event that happened, then they need to know that they are not getting the true story. They're getting a one-sided lens being spun a certain way, that people really need to do their due diligence to go and look at different accounts, different perspectives, and open up their social media a little bit outside of what they're being shown.
Yeah, and I think it's also like talking to people who are in like different situations or who are different than you. Because obviously, like, no matter what, like, we're gonna have a little bit of privilege because we are white, and like, we need to be talking to people of color and seeing what their experiences are. Obviously, like you had said before, this is not like new in our country. These camps existed in previous presidencies, in Democratic presidencies. Immigration reform has never been, in my personal opinion, has never been done humanely. Um, but it has increasingly gotten worse. So like, you know,
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that because you're right. It isn't just this presidency that I appreciate that you're saying that this is a long-term problem that the United States has had where we're not doing that. And like, I don't think we even, our prison system is not even humane.
oh
And
no,
so,
no.
yeah, so people can say, oh, our tax dollars are paying for them to have food and shelter, and our homeless population doesn't even have those things. But I don't think that the living conditions in this country in the prison system is humane either. I think it's fair to conclude that for some people, maybe they voted for this and this is now unfolding, and maybe they would say, I made a mistake. I changed my mind, which like it's okay. I also think that a lot of what is it not a lot of people read Project 2025. So not a lot of people knew some of the things that were really being proposed. We were being warned by Kamala and the Democratic Party. They were warning us. Um, but I do think for some people they didn't know that this is how it was going to go. But you're right. Some people maybe did read and research and they were in alignment with those things. Um, I myself, like being a queer person, it's important to me that there are rights and liberties for everyone to get to marry and have a home and start a family, no matter what that may look like. And so that like has always been an important value to me ever since I was a voter. Um, and also like having a womb, having a uterus. I have never personally had to have an abortion. I hope I never have to. I hope I never was in a situation where I would feel that I need to. I could say that's an awful situation for any woman to be in, to have to make that decision, no matter the reason. And I've never had to make that decision, but I want someone to have the right to, no matter what the circumstances are. No one should be forced into that situation, but not everybody feels and believes that. And to interact with women who don't feel and believe that, that's scary to me. Like, but maybe it's because they, like me, have never had that experience. So they don't know what it's like. And so maybe that is why they can't make a decision that is more open and expansive for other people's experiences. Did you have to make the decision to end these friendships? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I made the decision to, when I found out like about this person's beliefs, that they were perhaps different than I had thought. I reached out to them and we had a conversation because that was really important to me. Like, I want to hear why someone believes what they do. And this person was very open with me, so like I was very grateful for that. Like, we had a conversation. I learned a lot of things that I hadn't known. Um, but I think what made me decide, I took a couple months after that conversation of like we ended a bit me saying like I don't really know if I can continue this friendship, like I need to take some time, and this person was like, I totally understand, like they were very understanding of it. And I took some time, and you know as things were unfolding and we were getting close to the presidency beginning, I just kind of kept going back to the same thing of being like, I don't really know who this person is. Um, because like what kind of bonds people and friendships is kind of like what their core beliefs are. Like that's why you hang out with people, yeah, same interests, of course, but like if you have the same core beliefs and values, that's why you really enjoy being with someone or you have like trust in them. And so many of this person's beliefs were so harmful to not only myself, but especially the people around me or like other people that it just didn't feel like right to continue in that relationship. And I think like it's important for how do people know that perhaps their beliefs are harmful if everyone in their life is just like, we'll just never talk about it. Or, like, let's just, or like, I'll listen to what you have to say and then just be like, okay, I think differently. Like, no, that person's going to be like, oh, this is like fine if they're never told. So I think like my hope was at least that this person could see that like it's a pretty big deal to have the beliefs that you have and like that like hurt me too.
Yeah, you're right. That like that we need to anyone needs to be willing to turn towards their family and their friends, right? And talk about those harmful beliefs, whether or not it's directly even impacting us, but our humanity, right? Like the nation. I'm not even going to use the word citizens, right? Because it's just like humans, human rights, human equity, human values. And whether or not you or I, in those conversations with people, are going to see the flowers blossom and bloom, that's okay. I'm willing to plant some seeds or water it a little bit. And maybe I'm not going to be the person that gets to see the fruit of that work, but it's still worth it to me to hope that somewhere in their spiritual journey, in their journey on this earth, in this lifetime, that they will have an awakening or that they will understand um, how their beliefs are harmful. I don't even know what to say beyond that. Just like, yeah, right, being harmful. Like it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm always
Uh,
like, oh, did I make like the right decision in doing this? And I recently had to do this work training about decisions. And I thought one of the things they said was very uh, impactful to me in thinking about this decision is they were like, it's not about making the right decision. It's about making a decision with the information that you have. So like, I was like, okay, this is the information I have about this person now. And it's against everything that I like core believe to my core. How can I continue this? And I think like sometimes people try to compare it to religion. And like I am fine being friends with people that have different religious beliefs of my than my own, which are non-existent. But like if you have a religious belief, I'm open to that. Like it's great. I think again, the only difference would be if you were like against people's humanities, then that would be similar to like your political beliefs. You would lose me there. But if, you have a belief in a god, that's great. Or like in a deity of some sort. I don't have any problem with that.
Yes, yeah, because it's not harming you, it's not
No.
hurting you, yeah. Or and someone's not trying to say, you have to follow my religion or you're going to hell. So I'm just worried for you, Elise.
Yeah. I'm not saying you need to vote like the way that I vote or like you're a horrible person. I would just like some, acknowledgement that what is happening is
Yeah,
wrong and bad.
yeah. This isn't your average Republican. This
Yeah.
isn't just another Bush. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So, okay. Do you feel, have you felt grief in this loss, even though you can recognize that it was necessary for this friendship, and that you knew it kind of couldn't continue? What was that experience like?
Yeah, I think like it wavered between, yeah, like sadness, anger, and guilt. Like sadness that like this person was a very good friend of mine and we had been a part of our lives for a long time. And I assumed that would always be the case. And I think anger of like, this person wasn't who I thought they were. And like, I and then also guilt as well that like they couldn't be their true self. But I think that is also a choice that people make. Um, so yeah, I think it wavers between the three, and then like, it's slowly become acceptance of like I can't control what other people do and what other people believe, and I just hope that like one day, um, this person, these friends maybe think a little bit differently or just like take into an account like that their actions impact other people. It might not perhaps impact them, but it does impact others. Maybe they don't live near them. Maybe they don't look like them, but like they they may never physically see it, but like it still exists. I mean, eventually, like this this impacts all of us right now. We're just some people haven't seen it quite yet. But yeah, I guess now I'm just like, I just hope that one day they are able to, you know, I don't know.
Come around. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Like, wake up, make a change. Like I would just hope that some people don't have too much pride to say, like, this is fucked up. I fucked up. Especially even like seeing some of the stuff that like Trump says on his Truth Social or like the things that he creates with AI and like just this garbage. Like to look at that and be like, that's the president of the United States. Like to look at what the White House is posting or what the DH is it DHS? Yeah,
DHS.
the DHS, like what they're tweeting. Like I don't know. I don't go on Twitter or X. I don't, but I've seen, right? Like just like we look embarrassing to the rest of the world. Like the rest of the world is laughing at us. And I get why.
That is interesting. I mean, the last time I was out of the country was in 20, or when I was out of the country in 2019 when Trump was first elected. When I would meet people and I would tell them I was from the US, they would be like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I'd be like, "Oh, by the way, like most of us we don't like this." Like I would always be try to tell people like, "Hey," and this was during the first presidency, but I'd be like, "Hey, most of America or like much of America doesn't like what's happening," just to reassure them that like we're not all like that.
Yeah. I myself, like in voice acting, I have a couple clients and producers that I've worked with in Indonesia and France. And when I've been on a video call with them, I have had the thought of like, oh my gosh, do they think I'm like a Trump supporter? Do they think I'm like a horrific person and like I'm okay with this stuff? And it's like these people are like work colleagues I don't really know, and we're in a professional setting, and it probably would be bizarre of me to be like, hey, we're not okay in America right now. Like, I'm not okay. Like, I am okay. I am doing more okay than other people. But to just know, like, SOS, we're not okay. Um, for me, mourning these friendships and these relationships, I definitely have ebbed and flowed between sadness and anger. And the times that I'm angry, I know I'm only upset because there's still deep sadness inside. Um, and I still have moments where I will see something and want to send it to my old friends, or I'll think fondly of memories. But like you, I've had these moments of kind of questioning, like, maybe these people were not who I thought they were. Maybe some of these friends were pretending. Or maybe some of these friends could go, yeah, I know Rachel used to be married to a woman, but I think she's going to hell. Which, like, I don't want to be friends with somebody like that. I don't want to be friends with somebody whose worldview is like that, where they think, like, we have so many things in common superficially, because I really want to be in deep alignment with my friends and my people.
Yeah, I think it's made me like examine like what's important to me in a friendship and kind of look at the friendships I do have and like what are people that perhaps we were friends because we lived near each other or we had grown up together, but like perhaps we don't necessarily have the same beliefs. And I think I would run into that too, where I'd see someone post something online and I'd be like, what? And I'd be like, well, I guess I don't really know that person that well, anyways. And now that I know this, like, I'm just gonna just never reach out again. And that will just kind of be the end of it.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting the way you said that though, because like you can't be friends with every person you've ever met or be as close of friends. Like we grow, people have jobs, families, kids, careers, people move, things like that. But on social media, we think, oh, these are 800 people that I've known in my life and I know them. I knew a version of them in the past, and people change and people grow, and we were kids and now we're not. And so the way that you might like see something that you're like, oh, I didn't know so and so was a racist. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously.
True.
I laugh so I don't cry. What has helped you to feel less alone during this season? Or what helped you when you were going through the loss of different friendships?
I think what helped me in like going through the loss was that like other people were experiencing it too. And not even necessarily like the same person. Well, that was true. I think people in general were like really examining or like realizing people in their lives that um they didn't realize, I guess, like their true beliefs or so yeah, I think knowing that like I wasn't alone in that and also like how important it was to like have a reckoning because like no change happens if we all are just kind of like everything's fine, like the world's falling apart, but I guess we'll just pretend that people can behave however they want.
Yeah, it's interesting that you use the word reckoning because I do feel like we are having that on a social, political, economic, like everything right now in America. Leave no stone unturned. We need to flip it over, burn it down. There's a lot of archaic systems and things that have been contributing to the harm and oppression of people for a long time in this country. A lot of still colonial capitalistic practices. And so, like, the reckoning happening, like, we know that we need to go through it to get to the other side and to build new systems. And I've heard that, like, every 250 years, civilizations go through a collapse. America's birthday this
I say
year
that's this
is
year.
250. Yes. And so like that is like looking back at historical data of other civilizations and empires. 250 years is about the average duration of like a reign of sorts. And so like we are at the end of ours. So I think that some of this, while it's horrific, that it's necessary so that we can bring this darkness to the light. And I know that's like even like a Bible verse of sorts, but like I feel it's true that like even God, the universe, creator, spirit, whatever word somebody could use, whatever somebody's comfortable with, like I believe spirit doesn't like what's happening. Spirit doesn't want this oppression and separation. God would not want the brothers and sisters and neighbors to be treated like this. But like this isn't okay and this shouldn't stand. And I want to know if this business person or this person I'm following on social media, an influencer, somebody, if they're not talking about this and engaging, then I don't want to follow you. I don't want to support you. I don't want to buy what you're selling. I don't want to be your friend. I don't.
I think, and this goes to a totally different topic,
That's
but
okay.
Um, I think it's interesting when people like, celebrities in, you know, anywhere from movies, musicians, athletes, when they're silent on things and people debate like whether they should say something or not. And like, I like my personal belief is like, you have a platform. Like, if you don't like what's going on, why would you not say something? Like, you have like this power to create change. And so like yeah, maybe it's not like should people listen to what this baseball player says? Like is does his opinion matter the most? No, but like there's a lot of people that really love and respect you and if they saw what your opinion was, perhaps they would take that into consideration if they thought differently or they knew they were supported in or like that you were against some of the things that were happening that maybe they were going through.
Yeah, and something I'm really trying to like engage with right now and remind people is that we need everybody to say something. We need everybody to get engaged. And this isn't just about political leaders or public figures, or, like I said in my last episode, like political science majors or lawmakers. These kinds of things affect everybody. We all should be speaking about it. And you're right, for people who, if they have a platform of any kind, you've got a lot of eyes, you've got a lot of attention looking at you, and that gives you a lot of power. Use that power. And if somebody's afraid of losing a brand sponsorship or a brand deal or something, then they're just caring about themselves and their dollars. Well, then I don't want to support you. So like the cycle kind of goes, and that makes sense in that way. I'm kind of wondering if like America is going to be saved by like the celebrities and influencers. I heard that Keanu Reeves somewhere, I don't know the location. I heard that he like bought this restaurant or like this homeless shelter, like he opened a tab there. And if maybe it's in Minnesota somewhere, if somebody needs food, like you go there and like it's taken care of. Like you need food, you need a meal, whatever. It's like an open tab, like on Keanu Reeves. Like we need more celebrities to do stuff like that in Minnesota or these places that are under siege, but also like in areas that are impoverished. And I know Taylor Swift. Like, there's a lot that could be said about Taylor
Ooh, be careful
Swift.
what you're about to say, Rachel. The Swifties are gonna go
I
after
know,
you.
Swifties come for me, come for me. Because like I'm a fence rider about her. I've had seasons of my life where I didn't really like her and seasons where I have. I know that she gave to food banks in every area where she did a concert, where she did the Eras tour. That like she gave to food banks and that wasn't really publicized. And I think that's cool. She wasn't doing it for like the the gravitas about it. Like she wasn't doing it for the accolades. So I do like that she's had some philanthropic moments, but we really need these the top 1%, the top 10% to use their dollars differently, use their voice differently, use their platform, because that's where the power is. Right now in America, all the power is where the dollars are. And everything happening that we're seeing unfold with like Epstein and all these politicians and like important celebrities and just different people that are in these files, like they're able to do all these disgusting, disturbing things that they've done because they have the power and the money. So we need people that have power and money. If you're not part of that gang, if you're not a part of that group, then like stand up. This is the time.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's a good reminder for like us normal folk who aren't a part of that, like our dollars are the only reason they're in their success. So like I think like a good example of that is like the stuff that's happened with Target in the past year of their sales going down because people found out the things they supported. So I think like, and I mean, I'm not super good at this, but like I try to be more cognizant of like which, you know, corporations support different things. I'm not perfect at it, but you know, I'm not there are other stores that I will go to besides Home Depot now.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And for certain people, depending upon where they live, making those changes isn't always viable, they're
Yeah.
reasonable, but like if you can, when you can, it makes a difference. It really does. Or at least you can feel better knowing that your dollars are not contributing to the big beast, the big vehicle. Um, I specifically like, I don't care about football, but I heard that the Seahawks won, and there's a female CEO, girl power, love that. But also, she's never donated to the Trump administration, but the CEO of the Patriots has. So even just that, I'm like, glad they didn't win. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. Um, so yeah, there's so much more power that the little guy can do, and that is power of our dollars right now. Elise, what would you say to someone who right now is currently going through friendship loss over politics?
Yeah, I would say um, to feel your feelings because, a friendship loss, even if you feel like you're making the right decision or a decision that is in line with your beliefs, is still hard. So definitely like feel the anger, the grief, anything that you're feeling, and that, it's really important to do it. Like it does have an impact. You know, likely that you will never see, but at least you can walk away knowing that like you did what you believed was the right thing.
Yeah, no, yeah, that resonates. That just, it's also, I think, okay if it doesn't if it feels uncertain, that like it doesn't feel like, was it the right thing? Or, like,
I think one thing not to do is wonder like, oh, could I like say the right thing? Like, could I get them to change their mind? Because honestly, like if someone right now is still like, I love what's happening around me, or like it's not a big deal, like there's really nothing that you can say that is going to change their mind. Also, most people in that position probably think you're seeing like lies or like that you're brainwashed or something. So I think there's honestly, unfortunately, probably no magical thing you could say to them that they'd be like, oh, you're right. Like, I made the wrong decision, or like, I need to re-examine my beliefs. I just don't, yeah, there's no,
yeah, that like we have to recognize that for some people, like, well, it's not our responsibility, that it's not our job to save somebody. Um, and some people, like you said, if they are seeing what's happening around them and they're still okay with it, to me, I'm like, you're a lost cause. Or I'm like, that's like, you're really like if I have a friend specifically I'm thinking of that I'm like, I'm worried about, like, it's so dark. Like, I have a friend that was on her Facebook, on her social media, just very proud about the fact that like she thinks it's okay to spank her kids. And that alarms me and bothers me because my mom physically disciplined me and hit me until I was in high school. And so I know how harmful that is and the effects of that are lifelong. And then also her, when I was confronting her about that, she said, I stand by spanking my children and I stand by ice. And then that's the moment that for me where I was like, I can't do this anymore and I can't try to educate you anymore. I had to recognize it's she's too far gone, or yeah, that there's nothing I could do. Um so that's sad. Sad. I'm just like, I'm sad for those people. I'm just sad.
yeah.
um let's see. Is there anything else that you would say to someone going through friendship loss?
Um, I guess like there's no perfect way to do it, you know? There's gonna be days where you feel like, yes, I made the right decision, like this is good. And then the next day you'll be like, wait, did I? Um, And in this case, I would say like you did. Um,
I have another question.
yeah,
Are
yeah.
you open to these people or friendships coming back into your life if they were to have an epiphany?
Yeah, I mean, I like totally believe in like people change and like reconciliation and like I don't think that, I would never be there to punish someone because if they came back around and had like their own reckoning, yeah, I think it gets it's tricky when I see people online that are like, "Oh, like I changed my mind about, Trump," and then everyone in the comments is like really like rageful against them and like, you know, saying horrible things where it's like, yes, like I think that person does need to be told like, "Hey, what you did was wrong and you caused harm," but also like okay, like now you're a part of like this other side, like we'll take it. Like as long as so like that's tricky. And in the first Trump presidency, I remember I worked with some people and they had like more conservative views and they had told me like they hated talking because people made them feel really stupid. Because and so like it's a fine line of like, yeah, but sometimes like people need to be told like what you're the things that you believe are harmful. So yeah, it's like a fine line of like,
And I do think that the Trump administration feeds off of and preys off of the fact that it knows that the general American population is not literate, that Americans read at about a middle school level, and we do have a large population of people in this country where English is their second language. And so if news is at a high school level, and the words and the vocabulary that are being used in the daily in our news outlets and media, there is a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand. And so I can understand why people would feel backed into a corner when they don't know what to say because they don't have the information um, to back why they made the choices that they made. I think people were sold something with this presidency. They were sold something. A lot of people, it was, I would need more affordable groceries. And that was the thing that they thought that they were really voting for. Um,
yeah, and I think a lot of people don't think critically of like they love or MAGA specifically, loves Donald Trump and he can do no wrong in their eyes. So like whatever he says, it's fine. And so like I think like people need to, it's the people aren't thinking critically. They're just like, I love this man. He's like a celebrity. I mean, I've never seen people that have like flags for presidents. Even though Obama was well liked by many people, no one was wearing a hat that said something about him. No one had a shirt. Like, it's not even.
I'm like, actually, though, I think my family had an Obama flag and my grandpa had an Obama bumper sticker on his car. So, like, we had little
Okay.
things, the O for like hope.
I hope. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Some of
maybe
us.
Obama wasn't a good example.
Yeah. God, I miss him so much. So much. But yes, quite in this way. Also, where like Trump has made so much buy this Trump cup, buy this Trump coin, buy this Trump watch, that he is trying to make as much money as he can just because he's the president. Like he's just putting his name and his face on everything as a marketing tool or
Like a
something.
cult, which
Hmm.
many people have done. The cult of MAGA is a well researched thing.
I also love that you brought up like if you see anybody or encounter anybody on social media who might be now realizing that they made a mistake in the way that they voted, because I do have someone on social media that I've encountered recently, a young white woman who has been sharing about how she like awakened from MAGA and has like, had her like, come to Jesus kind of moment. And every time she posts, I just like gas her up in the comments so hard. And I'm just like giving her so much praise and encouragement because I know it is must be so hard to do what she's doing. It's so hard to like say I made a mistake and then to do it publicly, that she's like going on her TikTok and saying it, engaging with people about it, talking about it, crying about it. And so I asked her to come on the podcast. I'm hoping that she will, because I do want to hold space for somebody to hear them out through that experience too, because we need people to have a change of heart. And so I kind of want to ask her more about like, how did you get here to
Yeah.
have this change of heart? And like, is there anything anybody could do to help, you know, push that needle forward for others? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's more for strangers than it will be for our own friends and family. Um, but I don't know if she's coming on yet for not or for sure, but I am hopeful. Elise, do you have any other closing thoughts or statements that you want to say about what this friendship loss was for you, or anything else about the journey?
Yeah, I think just of the caveat of like, I didn't know how to handle this, or like, did I handle this all perfectly? No, for sure not. Um, and yeah, like, is this I believe that I made like the right decision, but
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to get across that like,
You and I don't have a perfect roadmap
yeah,
for
yeah.
navigating friendship loss. And like, we are just sharing our own experiences and like what the journey was like for us in doing so that other people don't feel so alone. But there is no perfect way to navigate through this.
Yeah.
I think that's what you were going to say.
Yep, yep. That was exactly what I wrote in my script for this.
You're welcome. Elise, at the end of each episode, I like to share some affirmations and mantras for the listeners to say and repeat with us. I really believe in the power of affirmations. Our words are our spells, and so we need to cast beautiful, loving things out loud. It's more powerful to say it out loud. And so, after everything that we've shared today, all the feelings and emotions and energy that has kind of come to the surface, I want us to align to these affirmations. Are you down?
Of course.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to say the affirmation and then I'm going to have you repeat it after me. Okay. May we all find friendships rooted in care.
May we all find friendships rooted in care.
May we all find friendships rooted in shared values.
May we all find friendships rooted in shared values.
May we all find friendships rooted in mutual respect.
We all find friendships rooted in mutual respect.
Okay, next one. And I'm saying this to you, Elise, and you, the listener. You deserve friendships that feel safe.
You deserve friendships that feel safe.
You deserve relationships that feel affirming.
You deserve relationships that feel affirming.
You deserve friendships that are honest.
You deserve friendships that are honest.
Thank you for joining me today, Elise.
Thank you.
Thank you for unpacking something that is sensitive and vulnerable, and allowing me to try to navigate this with you in hopes that this will impact others in a positive way.
Thank you, Miss Radically Rachel, for using your platform for people to have these discussions.
As we come to a close, I want to acknowledge that conversations like this can stir up a lot of feelings: grief, relief, anger, sadness, clarity, even tenderness. If you're listening and recognizing your own story in ours, know you're not alone. Please remember, Losing a friendship doesn't mean you failed. Sometimes it means you honored your values, your boundaries, or your need for safety. Grief and growth can exist at the same time. You can miss someone and still know that the distance was necessary. We hope that this conversation reminds you that it's okay to outgrow friendships, to redefine community, and to choose connections that align with who you are and who you are becoming. Thank you for being here, for listening with an open heart, and for continuing to show up for yourself in a world that often makes that feel hard. And remember, stay radical.